Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Francesca, and today we are going to be sewing this trending gown with Basque effect. And if this is something you will like to be trying, kindly follow this channel, like, subscribe, and drop your comments. Okay, so the materials we're going to be using is your straight ruler, your scissors, your marker, your tape, your curve ruler, and of course the fabric. So we're going to be starting with pattern paper first. And the reason for starting with pattern paper is because the fabric I'm using is very busy. I would have done it directly on the fabric. So I am getting out my starting line. That is the line I'm reeling now. Straight line for a starting line. That's the shoulder side of the dress. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be straight to the point as possible. It's really not hard. It's as easy as anything if you pay attention, okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to be getting is my shoulder. The shoulder I'm working with is 14 inches divided by 2. That's 7 inches. I'm going to head to mark 7 inches. Now, the next thing is to increase that shoulder. Because of the style of the dress, I'm going to be increasing the shoulder by 12 more inches, okay? I'm going to add 12 inches to the 7 inches I already marked, okay? And I'm going to head to mark that. The next is shoulder slant. The shoulder slant, I use 1 inch for my shoulder slant. I'm going to mark the 1 inch on the area I marked. I added the extra 12 inches for the shoulder, okay? I'm going to head to do that. Now, the next thing is to get our neck measurement. The neck measurement I'm working with is 3 inches width and 9 inches length. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my 9 inches. This is because the front of the top part of the dress is going to be V-neck. Now for our shoulder slant, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to where the neck started from, where the neck width started from. And that is it. I'm gonna head to join it together. Now I'm going to connect the neck width and the neck length together to form a V, just like so. After that is done, the next thing is to get our armhole. So I'm going to place my tape on the area where the length of the shoulder stopped, and I'll mark 8 inches. You can make yours 9 inches depending on the size or how open you want your armhole to be. So I've gone ahead to do that. Now I'm going to use my ruler to rule a straight line there, just like so. Okay. Now let me explain what happened here. I honestly thought I was recording. I thought I pressed the record button, but I did not. I forgot. So this is what happened, okay? So that you don't get confused. I measured my measurement. I took my measurement from shoulder to my bust, and I got 11 inches, and I ruled a horizontal line. From shoulder to under bust, 15 inches, I ruled a horizontal line. Shoulder to waist, that's 19 inches, and I ruled a horizontal line. And then shoulder to hip is supposed to be 26 inches, but I went up by 2 inches. That's 24. So when you're doing yours, use 24. That is because of the Basque. If you take it down to your normal 26 inches, it's not going to come out nice. So you go up by 2 inches. Okay, so your new hip measurement should be 24 from your shoulder, and you're placing your tape right where your neck width started from. You will not place your tape from where the shoulder slant started from, like the end of the arm, where the armhole started from. You place your tape where the neck width started from. Do you understand? Where the 3 inches neck width started from. That is where you're going to place your tape to get all these measurements, okay? So the bust, the under bust, the waist, and the hip. Remember, the hip, you go up by 2 inches. Whatever your hip measurement is, whatever your hip length is, just go up by 2 inches, okay? So mine was 26 inches. I went up by 2 inches. That's 24. So 24 inches is my new hip measurement for this style, okay? So I am sorry for the missing clip. Now let's continue. Now we are going to be taking our round measurements. The roundness of your bust, whatever you get, you divide by 4. Mine is 8 inches, okay? What I got, that's my bust circumference divided by 4. I added 18. That's 8 inches. Then I added extra 2 inches. That's 10 inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark. So for this tutorial, we're not measuring the bust is out of it, okay? We're only taking our under bust, waist and hip measurement, okay? Now some people's under bust and waist measurement are usually the same, okay, but in my case it's not the same. So my waist measurement was 9 inches. I added extra 2 inches, that's 11 inches. I'm gonna head to mark. Now the next is the hip circumference. Whatever my hip circumference is, I'm going to divide by 4 and add extra 2 inches, okay? So mine was 11 and I've added extra 2 inches, making it 10 inches, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines together. So from under bust to the waist and then to the hip, okay? For this hip part, I'm going to be using my curve ruler to get that curve effect, okay? And this is it, guys. This is it, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to divide that waist to hip. The mark I just did from my waist to my hip, I'm going to divide it by 2. So let's know what the measurement is. So from waist to hip is 6 inches. You can see it's 6 inches, okay? 6 inches on the dot. Now 6 divided by 2 is 3 inches. So I'm just going to fold my tape just for proper accuracy of the measurement, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and dot it. Exactly. Okay, so I'm just making it clearer enough. Now the next thing is to connect it to that end, the end of that hip line. So you use this curvy part of your curve ruler, this part that is not so curvy but slightly curvy, and then link it to that line. Thank you. So now we are creating the Basque effect, okay? Now we're going to go over to the armhole side, okay? The armhole side, and we are going to measure 3 inches inwards. But before we do that, let's connect the line to the under bust area, because the 3 inches is going to go in from both the armhole to the bust and to the under bust. So we are going to use our ruler to dot it. I would have just done it like that, but I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm just going to dot the lines so that when I'm taking the 3 inches, I want to make sure that they are accurate. Okay, so now 3 inches. I'm gonna mark 3 inches here on the bust line, 3 inches on the under bust line as well. Okay, now I'm going to join it together. You can use freehand to do this. You can also use your rulers to do this. Okay, so that has been done. Now the next thing is for us to cut this top. So this is the upper part of the dress. I started from the shoulder slants to the armhole to the side that I marked 3 inches inwards, and then I'm going to separate the under bust from the basque. Okay, so now this is the basque, and that one was the under bust, from shoulder to under bust. Okay, so this is what it should be looking like. Now the next thing is to get our back measurement, back neck measurement. So I went down by 10 inches just because for this style the back side is usually deeper than the front. The back neck is usually deeper than the front. Okay, remember the front I used 9 inches, so now the back I added just 1 inch, making it 10 inches. Okay, now I'm going to connect the line together to form that V, making sure I don't tamper with the width, the length of the width. Okay, so I'm going to place my ruler just like so, from the beginning of the width all the way down to the 10 inches I marked for the back. So I'm going to label it. This is the back and this is the front. Okay, so that's it, guys. The next thing now is to introduce our fabric so that we can go ahead and trace them out from our fabric. So this fabric is 4 inches. Okay, I'm gonna have to fold it into 2. So this is 4 inches fabric, but if you want all your gathers to be very full, you can use 5 or even 6 inches. Now I'm going to, this is the way I place my tape. Now I place this pattern paper, I minus 2 inches. This 2 inches is where the drawstring will go through. That's where the string of the drawstring is going to pass through. Okay, now I'm going to be pinning it together, so don't forget to always leave this space for your drawstring. I left 2 inches. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and trace it out just like so. Remember to fold your fabric into 2 so that by the time you open it, it's going to be two sides. Okay, Okay, so we are going to, first of all, we're going to be cutting out the front part before we now cut out the back. So I'm just folding the front. You can see I folded it, making sure I don't fold the back side. Okay, I'm gonna head to cut. You can also cut it off at once. They just cut off the front so that it won't confuse us. So now this is me unpinning the dress. I'm unpinning the pattern paper to pin only the dress, okay? Because this fabric is a little bit stubborn, so you have to use your pin very well so that you can put it together. Now, with your fabric still folded into two, we're going to cut out the basque area now before we cut the back side. So this is the basque. I'm going to be using my pin to hold it together. Just like I said, the fabric is quite stubborn, so I'll be using my pins to hold it together so it don't move as I'm cutting. So if you're seeing the channel for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Please drop your comment. I love them so much, okay? They give me so much joy. It encourages me to do more. So I think I've been able to hold it enough. So now I'm tracing it out. So this, I'm cutting the back of the basque first. So I'm going to leave like 2 inches extra allowance for zipper. Okay. This is the back side of the dress. So I left extra 2 inches. You can leave 1.5 inches for the zipper. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the front part. And the front part, as I'm cutting it, make sure you don't cut out the folded parts, just like what I'm doing now. Remember the back side we did cut out. We cut out these folded parts. We cut open the folded part because the back is supposed to be 2 because of the zipper. But in this case, this front is not going to be 2. It's supposed to be one long basque. Okay? That is why I'm not going to open up that folded part. I hope you understand me. So this is it. I didn't open up the folded parts. Okay? This is it, guys. Let's open it up a little. So this is what it looks like. Now let's close it back and then continue what we're doing. Now we're going to fold this fabric into 2 again and now cut out the back side of the dress. Remember, we have already cut the front the first time, and don't forget to also leave out 2 inches allowance for the drawstring. You can do 1.5, but I did 2 inches, okay, just to be on the safe side for the for the drawstring. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and trace it out. And this is it. So now we're cutting the back neck out. So you see the back side went down. The back neck went down more than the front. So this is the back, this is the zipper allowance area. That's the back side of the basque and the back side of the dress put together. Now this is the down part of the clothes. So I had to do it flay so that I wanted it to have this full flay effect, okay? So you can do your normal gather without cutting it flay. So I just went ahead to, because I want to gather it, I want it to be very full. I didn't use my actual waist measurement. I just added a lot of inches for it, okay? And then I'm sorry for the down part. I'm only just cutting out the length of the gown where I want it to stop. Okay, so for this waist measurement, I didn't really use my actual waist because I want it to be very full. So I used a lot of measurement for that. So that's why it will be wide enough, and by the time I gather it, it will be very full. So this is, let me open it up. You can see it's very wide. This is not my waist, of course. This is very wide. And it's still not even as wide as I wanted, but it's fair enough. So now, let's join them together. So I'm unpinning it. This is the front part. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe. Now I'm going to use my bias. I'm going to use my bias to pipe that front part, the V part, the V neckline. I'm going to use my bias to turn it. And then this back side, I'm also going to use my bias to also turn it as well. You can use fabric, you can use whatever you have to turn it. Just make sure it's not looking rough. This is it. I'm gonna head to turn it with my bias. Okay. Okay, this is it. So the next thing to do now is to bring out that neck measurement we did. Remember when we were cutting it, the front part was 9 inches length. That was what we used to cut the front part of the neck. Okay, so I'm going to use my tape now to measure out, minus that 2 inches. Don't forget, minus the 2 inches for the drawstring, and then place your tape and measure 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches, 9 inches, please. So I'm going to use my pin to hold, or rather I'm going to use chalk to mark it, to identify the neck length, and then I'll use my pin to hold it together to the neck, to the area I marked 9 inches. Okay, yes, I've been able to do that. So that has been done. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to gather this front part. I'm going to gather it before I join my basque. Okay, I'm going to gather it first before I join the basque. I'm also going to repeat the same thing on the back side of this dress. Remember, the back, I've also used bias to turn the back. Okay, and this back is 2. I'm not going to hold it together like I did with the front. I'm going to first of all gather it and attach each of the basques before I do that, before I close it up. So this is the front part now. This is the front part. I've gone ahead to run a straight line with my sewing machine. So I'm going to draw the thread now. So I was supposed to skip this part, but I just want to show you for beginners how it is done, how gathers is being done. So you just draw one tiny thread from the one side of the dress, okay, and then gather it like so. Okay, so you just separate the thread and take just one tiny one and gather it like so. Then after gathering it, that's when you're going to introduce your basque. Okay, after gathering it, this is what it should be looking like. This is what it should be looking like, and then you introduce your basque. Now it appears the length of the basque is wider than the gather, so we are going to release the gather a little bit. You're just going to release it just a little bit to match the length of that basque. Okay, this is it. So you're going to go ahead and join it together, right side facing right side. When you're joining it, make sure be careful or be mindful of the basque shape. So you're going to join it with that shape like that, so that it will give you that basque effect. Okay, you see why I'm pinning it now. I'm being mindful of that curved area in the basque, so that when I'm also sewing it, I'm going to sew it following that curve, so that by the time your dress is ready, that curve will just be showing and everything. So if you're seeing this channel for the first time and you're impressed with what I've done so far, kindly subscribe. If you haven't, share, like, comment, please. Thank you. So I'm pinning it down together. I'm also going to do the same thing on the back side of this dress. The same thing I did here, but the back, each of them will have their own basque because of the zipper. I'm going to go ahead and sew. And this is the back side also. Now I've repeated the same thing on the back side. The difference now that each of them is separated because of the zipper. Okay, each of them are gathered and each one have its own basque joining. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach each of, just like I did with the front. Each of them will have their own, and I'm going to join them right side facing right side. So at this point I was confused where I don't know which side is the hip side and the zipper allowance side, but later I figured it out and I exchanged it back. So you have to be very careful if you're dealing with a fabric that's busy as mine. So now I'm making sure that they are equal, they are matching the length of the basque. Okay, so I'm going to join it right side facing right side. The same thing on the other side, right side facing right side. And I'm going to go ahead and pin it together to hold it together, and then use my sewing machine to run it a straight line. Okay, so run it a straight line, and this is what they are looking like. Okay, so this is the back side of the dress, and this is the front part of the dress, all sewn or joined together. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring out our zipper allowance, to trace out that zipper allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and place the back side of this dress on the table first. This is me arranging it. Okay, I'm going to place the second one, and then I'll go ahead and place the front part of the dress, of the top. Okay, and then trace out the zipper allowance. Normally I'm supposed to put the zipper before attaching my bias for the back side, because I realized that I'm still going to fold the back again. Okay, I'm going to sew it straight, and then these parts now I'm still going to fold it again. I'm still going to fold it by the time I attach the zipper. And when you attach the zipper, make sure you measure the length of the back to make sure the length of your neck is still intact before doing that. Okay, and I'm also going to turn the arm side with bias, both the front and the back top. And then this is what I was saying just now. Use your tape, minus the 2 inches for the drawstring, and bring out or trace out the 10 inches neck length. And then use your chalk and connect it together, so that when you're joining your zip, you will not tamper with your neck length. So this is it, guys. I've joined the zipper, and look at what I was saying. I ended up folding it again the second time because of the zipper allowance. Okay, but it doesn't matter. It didn't affect the shape of the dress at all. So next time when you're making yours, make sure you attach the zipper first before turning with your bias or something. Okay, and the arm, I've also turned the arm with bias. That's the armhole. I've also turned with bias. So I'm going to join this front to the back one now, and measure out my actual measurements. Okay, so from shoulder, minusing 2 inches. Always be conscious of these 2 inches you're going to be minusing. If not, it will affect your shoulder, it will affect your dress, and you will start amending. Okay, so I'm going to get my round underbust, my waist circumference, and my hip circumference. Okay, if your round underbust, or if your underbust and your tummy are the same measurement, there will be no need to get their measurements separately. But mine is not. My round underbust is 1 inch smaller than my tummy. Okay, so I'm going to place my tape on the joint, just like what I'm doing now, where I joined the basque. Okay, that's where my round underbust is. Whatever it is I got, now I'm going to divide it by 2. Whatever your circumference of your round underbust is, you measure by 2 this time, no longer by 4. You measure by 2 and minus that extra 2 inches. That's, you divide by 2 rather. Whatever your round circumference, the circumference of your round underbust is, you divide by 2 and minus that extra 2 inches we added when we were cutting. Okay, that time we were cutting it, we added 2 inches because it was it was folded times 4. Now you're going to remove 2 inches on this side and 2 inches on the other side. So you're going to repeat the same thing on the tummy and the hip, and then go ahead and sew, and then join your shoulder. Okay, let's go and do that now. So this is it, guys. I have joined it. I have joined the shoulder as well, and this is the drawstring. I'm going to head to create the drawstring. So on that our 2 inches, you're going to put these drawstrings there. Okay, tack it and then sew it straight. Okay, now let's go and do that. And this is it, guys. That's been done. Now let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to draw that drawstring now. when I draw it, the gather will now be fuller. Look at it. You can see, right? You can see. This is what it looks like. It's already coming out beautiful. Okay. This is it. So when you're cutting your owner, you want yours to be much more fuller than this. You can add a lot of inches on the shoulder. You can add a lot of inches. Instead of adding extra 12, you can add extra 20. Okay, now for the down part, I'm going to have to run a straight line. I'm also going to gather it just like we gathered the top. We're also going to drag one string, or rather one tiny rope, and gather it. And before you do this, make sure that the down parts have already been turned with your bias or whatever you're going to. If you're going to just fold it like that or use bias, just make sure the down part of this flay has already been folded or turned with bias. Then you go ahead and gather it. Okay, so I have gathered it. So I discovered that when it was too gathered, that it was no longer my size, so I had to open it up a little bit so that it can fit around the dress. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach it and sew it round. Okay, so I left a little opening here. That's where I'm going to be attaching it from. So when you're doing yours, leave a little opening by the zipper side. That's where you're going to be attaching it from. Now I'm going to take one end of that flay. Make sure it's right side facing right side. Okay, and then sew it round. And this is the dress, guys. This is what it looks like. So when I wore it, it wasn't as full as I wanted. So what I did was, the remaining fabric, I had to do a lot of joining, and I ended up cutting out enough, and then I joined it again, so the flay became fuller. And this is what it looks like on me. It looks so beautiful. I even wore it to church last Sunday, and everybody was telling me, you're going to sew this tie for me. So guys, thank you for watching. Bye. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Okay, see you in my next video. Bye. You can see the down part is looking somehow. That's because the initial cutting was flay, but when I joined it with the remaining fabrics, I didn't cut it flay. I also had to cut it straight because the fabric wasn't enough. So I shall joined it like that. So that's why some parts is flay and some parts is straight. So for this, but this is just for illustration. So I'm going to be trying this style again, and this time it's going to be with a better fabric that will not give me stress. Okay, bye.